Hello everyone, it's the Canadian Futures Trader here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the video.
Gotta get more followers.
If you have not already, be sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications, get notified every time I put out a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be going through the Savius program. Basically, guys, I'm going to walk through the website. I've looked at it before, but I never really dug in. So the video that follows is me going through the website. I know several of you have asked for a review. I'm going to basically compare and contrast it to some of the other programs which I have gone through. So the video is a little bit long just because it really is my first time through the website in a more in-depth way. So I apologize up front if some of the things I'm trying to stumble through and figure out what they're talking about or how the program works. I'm honestly trying to do this video in the way that anyone else would, is if you went to their website for the first time and tried to figure out about their program. I will put in the punchline here. Guys, I do not recommend this company. I have no sense of how reputable they are, honestly, but just based on the offering that they have in their accounts, it makes zero sense compared to some of the other options that you have available. It's very difficult. There's multiple steps. It's somewhat misleading in their account sizing, meaning they offer big account sizes, but the number of contracts you can trade is severely limited and not proportional whatsoever. And you'll see that in the video that follows. So punchline, do not recommend Savius, but if you want to see more of why I don't recommend them, feel free to watch the rest of the video. And if you do want to see some companies that I do recommend, I have several videos, and or go to the link down below to my website and you can read reviews of several companies which I do recommend. That said, all right, let's take a look through the Savius website. People, a review of Savius Trading. They are an online prop firm. Not one you hear as much about, but I will go through their website and give you my feedback. Now, I will say a few things up front. One, I have not tried out with them, so I'm going completely off information they've made available and comparing it to other programs which I have gone through and have created reviews about, the ones that I usually talk about. Definitely Savius is one that does not come into the conversation often, for good or for bad, and I think once we get into the review, I don't suspect that this is a great fit for most people if you want the punchline, but let me at least walk you through it and give you kind of the pros and cons as far as I see it. And as always, I highly recommend you go to my website, CanadianFuturesTrader.ca, link down below. I put up reviews. I will eventually do a written review of Savius, but for now, I'll just do this video review. You can always find my reviews over here on the right, and as well other useful articles, deals on trader evaluations, and much more. So let's talk about Savius. So their main homepage honestly doesn't have too much information. Seems like a little bit of boilerplate. I'm not going to read through all this. You certainly can. You know, they have their mission statement, their vision. They offer 2 different accounts, and that's what I mainly want to get to go over. So let's jump ahead to those. So I'm not going to, the About Us just kind of gives the bio of 3 of the people involved with the company. So let's go to Savius Limitless, which is their actual trader evaluation. There's 2 options. So prove your trading skills, earn a funded account. Sounds like a similar theme with most of the other companies that I talk about. So they have a Savius Limitless and a Savius Limitless Pro. I'm just going to call them the regular and the pro to abbreviate. Earn a funded account up to 250K. All right, so far sounds good. I think we run into our first kind of roadblock right here. 2 challenges carried out in 6 steps. 6 steps sounds like quite a lot. It is quite a lot. Most people have a problem with TopStep Trader having 2 steps when most programs just have 1 step. So talking about 6 steps, I have a hunch already this is probably not going to be something that is going to be of great interest to people. Let's look at the specs of the different steps though. So the regular on the left and the pro on the right, both are $50,000 max drawdown. One thing that puts me off a little bit, just to be honest, is when sites aren't completely 100% polished and professional. It's a little bit weird when the dollar denominations, $50,000, this is written out like how I would expect. $2,000 though, written out a little bit weird. There's a period in here, the dollar signs at the end, the same thing here. I get that different countries do things differently, but I think there's something to be said for consistency. So, I mean, that's just, anytime I don't see complete professionalism, it kind of is a little bit of a red flag. I'm going to be honest. Maybe I'm nitpicky. So far the difference between the regular and the pro is that the max drawdown is slightly bigger on the pro. Otherwise, the target is the same. The capital is the same. I mean, the demo count. So consistency, which 30%, I'm assuming they mean that no one day can be greater than 30% of your total goal. Minimum 10 sessions and 10 trades. Okay, so far so good. Leverage and size, we'll take a look at that in a second. No overnight. Okay, so here's the big difference. The regular has no overnight allowed. The regular does have overnight allowed. So for you swing traders, the pro would be the way to go. And time to reach your profit target within 30 days, 30 days. And if you take longer than 30 days, you can extend your challenge at a competitive price. Basically, you pay the next month's fee. So it looks like the big differences are there's a slightly bigger drawdown on the pro, and you can trade overnight. Aside from that, I haven't seen much of a difference. So we'll get to it. I honestly, at this point, I have no idea what either of these cost. So here we go on the price. These are euros, so let's just call it 250 and 500. At the current exchange rate, this works out to, I'm going to round 300 US dollars, 600 US dollars. So just so you know, so pretty hefty price. I'm going to be honest. I mean, a $50,000 account, $300. And remember, this is most likely a month because it says, after 30 days. So let's assume at this point, 1 month fee, $300. I mean, I have to say that's kind of a red strike right there. I mean, a $50,000 account anywhere else is maybe $150, So let's explore, first of all, this leverage and size table before we get to the other details of Savius. Okay, so there's 6 phases, and apparently phases 1 to 4 and 5 to 6 are different. So let's zoom in here on phases 1 to 4 just to start. Maybe we'll take a look at 5 to 6, but let's see where we get with first 1 to 4. So I'm seeing a few things that are already an issue. For example, I'm looking at products that I'm most familiar with. Crude oil, max size 2 contracts. So again, a $50,000 account that costs $300 a month, and you're only allowed to trade 2 contracts, which is like less than what a normal, and when I say normal, I mean kind of the other programs, 25K accounts. So I'm curious. Let's look at the treasuries. This is honestly the very first time I'm looking at this. Let's look at the 30-year treasury bond. Max size 2 contracts. Guys, this is going south quick. Ultra bond as well. So ultra bond and the 30-year, what I trade most. So UB and ZB. 2 contracts and 2 contracts. Guys, this isn't going well. Let's put it that way. Let's take a quick look at ES. I know that's very popular amongst you guys. ES, 2 contracts also. All right. Well, let's keep marching on, but I think you know what I think about this. Let's zoom in really quick here on phases 5 to 6, just out of curiosity. Okay, on steps 5 and 6, which, I mean, no comment, but you can trade up to 4. I assume it's the same. Ultra bond is 4 and 30-year is 4. It's still honestly not a big amount in a normal, and again, when I say normal, I mean, the other programs that I often talk about. A 50K account, you're usually allowed to trade 5 or 6 contracts. So when you have to wait till phases 5 and 6 to only trade 4, I'm definitely going to say that's a big no. And just to make sure I'm clear on this, I did click on the link for the Pro account as well, and it's the same sizing. You can see here, ES is 2 contracts, Ultra Bond 2, 30-year 2, and then scrolling over here to phases 5 and 6, 4s, and 4 for ES. So the contract limits don't change based on the regular or the pro. So far we're not off to the greatest start comparing it to others. It costs way more. You can trade far less contracts. and it's 6 steps. So I haven't seen any benefit to Savius so far. So one thing I'm also really not clear on at this point is if this fee is a monthly fee. I'm assuming it is, but I could be wrong. Maybe this is just the fee for all 6 steps. Like, so far we have more questions than answers, and the answers we do have aren't the greatest. So let's keep exploring. So how much time do I have to pass challenge? Step 1 and 2 have a limit of 1 month each. Steps 3 onward, there's no time limit. Okay. As far as platforms, they use RTrader Pro or NinjaTrader. So it's kind of like the others. They give you a Rhythmic data feed. You can connect NinjaTrader. I mean, they don't list out the others, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say anything you can connect to Rhythmic, you will be able to use. It looks like the drawdown is trailing, and it trails indefinitely just based on their own example. If you're looking at this last line, if your balance rises to 55K, your cutoff point would be 53K. So you have a 2K max drawdown. It's obviously did not stop at 50K. So that's, again, not a great thing. Traders who make it to the final step will have opportunities for growth. Okay, well, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so here is the answer. That is a one-time payment. So I will say at least the payment is a one-time payment. So if you can navigate your way through all 6 steps, great. It's just the one-time payment. So I will say that's at least a pro, if you will. It's one of those things where you could sign up and honestly probably take about as long as you want, except for steps 1 and 2. It sounds like they need to be done in 30 days. Okay, well that gets us through step 1. Let's take a look at step 2. So let's assume we sign up. Let's just say we sign up for the Savius Pro. Why not? We paid the 500 euros, which is about 600 USD. We navigate our way through this. We trade. We reach the profit target of 3,000. Let's get to step 2. So let's just focus on the Pro account rather than, because they are fairly, there's honestly not that much difference between the two. I feel like that's almost like most people will look at this and most people just say, okay, well, I'll sign up for the Pro. So it kind of looks like it is the exact same. So basically you need to repeat yourself. Demo count of 50K, goal of 3,000, $2,000 profit target. Okay, so a slightly smaller profit target. Consistency rule is the same. You have to trade at least 10 days. We already looked at the leverage and size. So steps 1 to 4 was 2 contracts max in like the ES and the Ultra Bond. Overnights allowed within 30 days. So I'm assuming at this point, again, because I haven't really seen anything different, that if you've reached it, so this is kind of the minimum. You have to trade at least 10 days and you need to do at least 10 trades, which almost a little bit goes unsaid, right? If you need to trade 10 sessions, you're gonna have at least 10 trades. I guess you could, since they do allow overnight, maybe there, whatever, I'll let that one go. So, okay, so as far as I can tell, step 2 is slightly easier because you have a slightly less profit goal, but you have to reach it again. All right, let's take a look at step 3. So now your goal is 5,000. So step 1 was 3,000, step 2 was 2,000, step 3 is 5,000, but I also see here profit share 80%. So does that mean step 3 is kind of like a version of basically like a live sim or something? Like make up to your first 5,000 and you can get paid out 80%. It sounds that way, but it's not completely clear. There's no limits on reaching the target, and there's no time limit to reach a profit target, so you don't have to do it in a month. So at this point, honestly, and again, sorry guys, I'm going through this kind of the same way you would be and trying to figure this out. So I will say this at this point, they could definitely probably make this a little bit more clear, some type of infographic, something. I mean, when I first looked at their site, it looked like there were 6 steps before you'd be funded. At this point, it looks like steps 1 and 2 you complete, you move on to step 3, you are in a funded account and you get a profit share of 80%. Okay, so let's continue. Let's look at step 4. Let's say we do this, we reach our profit goal of 5,000. Now keep in mind, you're still limited to the 2 contracts in like ES and ZB and UB. So this is a little bit of a hefty goal to reach with just 2 contracts. Okay, step 4. Okay, so now you move up. Okay, so now we're moving up in the world. So Our max drawdown increases, still kind of the weird denominations. We need to reach 5,000 to move on to the next goal. We're getting 80%, but remember, step 4, we were still limited to 2 contracts. So once again, so you get more funded account, but this really doesn't matter because you're still limited to 2 contracts. So this number doesn't mean anything. You're still limited to 2 contracts, and now you need to reach a $5,000 goal again, and you get a profit share 80%. So I believe you can get paid out at these 2 steps. 100,000 makes absolutely no, like it does not matter. You're trading 2 contracts. Cost of the challenge reimbursed. Okay, so you get your money back if you make it this far. Okay, so there's a little bit of a carrot there. And I notice over here on the regular account, there's no next step. So basically you max out here. So you can't move on to step 5, which means you will not be trading any more than 2 contracts. Let's look at step 5. Okay, so, I mean, again, just to recap on the regular account, you're going to pay 250 up front, euros, 300 US. If you navigate all those steps, once you get step 3, it looks like you can pull out money at 80%, but you will never be able to trade more than 2 contracts of like the ES or the Ultra Bond, etc. Not great. Okay, the pro account. So remember, at this point, going way back, we can now trade like 4 contracts. But even 4 contracts isn't anywhere near what you can trade with other programs. Now, they say 150K, but you're trading 4 contracts. I mean, 150K anywhere else, you're trading 15 contracts. Like, these guys are not offering you a lot. $10,000 goal, profit share 80%, that's great, no limit. We already looked at this, that's the 4 contracts. Fixed, okay, this is interesting. Fixed income of 1,000 per month. So you get 80% on your trading, and you get a fixed income of 1,000 per month. Now, I don't know the details. I'm gonna suspect this goes hand in hand with this. Like, they're not gonna give you $1,000 and 80%. It'll be like, okay, we'll give you $1,000, and say your 80% equals $5,000 in profit to you. They'll say, okay, well, we already paid you 1,000, so we're only going to give you 4,000 more. Just a guess, I don't know. Exclusive access to the Savius Traders group, I'm not interested. Chance to take part in the targeted Savius course. Okay, let's keep going. I'm curious now. What's step 6? $250,000 account, but remember, you can still only trade 4 contracts. The funded account amount here is, I almost feel like this is an insult, guys, because they're putting out big numbers, making people feel like, oh wow, I'm going to be trading with $250,000. No, you're not. You're trading with 4 contracts. You could put $2,000 in a brokerage account at $500 margins and trade 4 contracts. This kind of annoys me a little bit. A 250, and if you want to look at some of the other programs, not many of them offer 250K account. But a 250K account at OneUp Trader, for example, you can trade 25 contracts. So to only trade 4 contracts, a bit of an insult. Fixed income of 2,000. So, and overnight is allowed. And that's kind of where this maxes out. All right, guys, I'm going to summarize this now as I see it. 1, they use a lot of big numbers to try to lure people in and make them think like they're going to be trading with these huge amounts of capital. But at the end of the day, you're trading with either 2 or 4 contracts, which is not, I'm going to say it's next to nothing. You could do that in a 25K account anywhere else. I do like that it's a fixed fee. I will give them that. I haven't heard much of these guys, so I have no idea what their reputation is as far as actually paying people out or their customer service. The fixed income thing isn't completely clear. Like, again, that sounds good on paper, but I suspect they give it to you almost as a draw on your profits. So say they give you $2,000, but then you only make an amount which equals $2,000 as your profit split. They're going to say, okay, well, we already gave you your $2,000. Like, it's not $2,000 on top of 80%. It's basically a draw against your profit share. I'm guessing. I would be surprised if it isn't that way. Max drawdown 10,000. Honestly, I don't know how you hit a max drawdown trading 4 contracts of $10,000, but that is what they give you. So just to sum up, I mean, I don't see any reason to go with this. I mean, the pro would be that it's a fixed fee. So I mean, I guess if you want to pay the one-time fee, and just see if you have what it takes to navigate your way through all these steps, great. They are severely limiting you on the contract size. I feel they're fairly misleading on things like funded account and stuff when it doesn't matter. You're trading 2 or 4 contracts. So they're trying to reel people in by making them seem like they're trading big accounts, but the reality is you're not. The fixed income, I feel like, is nominal, and just the fact that it's 6 steps. I mean, like I said to start, most people have an issue with a 2-step process. Imagine having to navigate your way through 6 steps. Based on all those things, guys, I'm gonna have to give this one a thumbs down. I have zero interest in it myself. I don't see why you wouldn't just do, for example, OneUp trader 250k account. Why not do that and trade 25 contracts and pay a fee that is only slightly more than Savius, and just have a 1-step process, like go through 15 days of trading and get funded and actually have 25 contracts available, rather than go through a 6-step process only to trade with 4 contracts. It just doesn't make any sense. So gonna give this one a no, guys. Hope that helped out some of you. I don't really have any interest, honestly, at this point in what their customer service is like or what their reputation is like. Just the limits on here are just way out in left field. And there you go. So big no for me on Savius. Thanks for watching. If you do want to see some of the programs I recommend, be sure to check out my website, link down below. You can read reviews of all the different companies, some I mentioned in this video, other ones that I also have been funded with, companies like OneUp, LeeLoo, UProfit, and also check out Earn to Trade and TopStep. Any of those would honestly be better than Savius. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.